Taiwan's political rift widens, a mass recall vote looms, and a new coalition is forming to take on the ruling DPP. A city sick of pollution from one of the world's largest coal electricity plants is locked in a power struggle with the nation's energy utility. The Philippine Vice President's impeachment trial takes another surprise turn. What the latest development means for Sara Duterte and the Philippines. Plus, tensions in Los Angeles rise to new heights as the city's mayor declares a curfew amid clashes between protesters, police, and U.S. troops. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Liao. An anticipated mass recall vote in the coming weeks has taken a polarized political landscape and widened the partisan gaps further. The ruling and opposition camps both say Taiwan's democracy is at risk, but for very different reasons. John Van Trieste reports.
This conference room gathering could be the start of a new phase in Taiwan's political rift. The people here have a big range of backgrounds, from politicians to academics and members of small parties. The glue that unites them is a dislike of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party. In fact, it's reached the point where they've decided to form a coalition of sorts under a name with powerful historical resonance, 党外, outside the party. It's a term once used for dissidents that included the DPP's founders during a long era of martial law. But these groups feel that they are the new dissidents, and say in an ironic shift in roles, the DPP is the new oppressor. This new coalition already has work to do. In a few weeks, a slew of opposition lawmakers could face recall votes that could shift the balance of power in the legislature. Big names are already calling for the opposition to push back. Their concerns include what they feel is an eroding of civil liberties under DPP leadership.
赖清德，尤其他的赖17条。 以所谓的国家安全为名，企图要来没收我们现在人民的言论自由，要没收人民的集结自由，更要没收人民的人权，以及制造我们的仇恨。
And what they say are double standards, especially when it comes to party insiders versus outsiders and China.
你是我的人，即使是在大陆出生。 可以当国防部发言人没有问题，可是如果不是我的人，全国公务人员很羞辱的要写下拒绝书，自己说我没有中国大陆的户籍。有许多已经入籍超过20年以上的大陆配偶，都拿着中华民国身份证的人，现在要千山万水的跑回中国大陆，看看能不能要到20多年前的证件。
They say Taiwan's democracy is fragile and needs protection. But the DPP and its backers have a sharply different view of the situation, saying those calling themselves the new outsiders are not so much dissidents as Chinese communist sympathizers, looking to further China's claims over Taiwan. And it says it's these people who are the real threat to Taiwan's democracy.
在台湾公民发起大罢免运动的同时，一个出来去号称要反制大罢免的联盟，为什么里面清一色都是亲中？ 红色统派的相关人士呢？所以我们看到一个最明显的迹象，就是大罢免现在已经变成一场反共护台 vs 亲中挺共之间的一个角力了。
Even if the recall showdown ahead doesn't bring about the blowout the ruling party hopes for and the opposition group fears, there are signs it will leave an already fractured political sphere even deeper in bitter acrimony. Kama Xu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's Defense Minister Wellington Koo is urging the legislature to talk to the executive branch about a new pay raise for volunteer soldiers, which he worries could affect other military spending.
恳请这个立法院在大幅的增加税出的这个预算的同时，能够事先跟行政部门不管是行政院还是国防部，都能够做一个商量吧。 可能会排挤到我们现在其他有关作业维持费跟军事投资这样的一个支出。
Ku's comments come after the opposition-controlled legislature passed a pay increase for Taiwan's volunteer military forces. Lawmakers said the raise was in response to high turnover and low recruitment rates in the armed forces. Earlier this year, the legislature cut billions of dollars from Taiwan's defense budget, but the pay raise will not kick in until the next budgetary year. Hong Kong has banned a Taiwanese mobile game that city authorities say advocates for armed revolution against Beijing. In Reverse Front Bonfire, players can align with Hong Kong, Tibet, or Taiwan to fight China's communist regime. Players can also choose to play Beijing, whose rule the game says is reckless and inept. This is the first time the Chinese territory has banned a video game using national security laws imposed by Beijing in 2020. As of Wednesday, the app is no longer available on app stores in Hong Kong. Officials in the territory warned that downloading or sharing the game could be considered inciting secession or subversion. Chinese and U.S. officials say they have agreed on a trade framework following talks in London. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says the deal would include a resolution on rare earth minerals.
We do absolutely expect that the topic of rare earth minerals and magnets with respect to the United States of America will be resolved in this framework implementation. That is a fundamental part of that.
China currently dominates the global market for those minerals, which are used in everything from consumer tech products to advanced weapons. Talks between the two countries stalled last month in Geneva over disagreements about rare earths and U.S. chip export controls. Both sides say they will now take the draft deal back to their leaders. Tensions in Los Angeles are at a high amid ongoing protests against U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration policies. Trump has deployed thousands of National Guard troops and Marines to quell the demonstrations, and LA's mayor has announced a curfew. AC Wells reports.
Outside a federal detention facility in Los Angeles, protesters face off against some of the thousands of National Guard troops and active duty Marines that U.S. President Donald Trump deployed in response to demonstrations against his immigration policies. As protests entered their fifth straight day on Tuesday, LA Mayor Karen Bass announced a curfew for the city's downtown, reiterating pleas for immigration raids to end.
I wanted to let the city know that I have declared a local emergency and issued a curfew for downtown Los Angeles to stop the vandalism, to stop the looting, and if we want to see our city peaceful again, I will call upon the administration one more time to end the raids.
The decision to deploy active military troops has been met with fierce backlash from local officials and Democrats. But speaking to Congress, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is defending the move.
We believe ICE agents should be allowed to be safe in doing their operations, and we have deployed National Guard and the Marines to protect them in the execution of their duties, because we ought to be able to enforce immigration law in this country.
Tensions between Trump and state leaders continue to escalate following California Governor Gavin Newsom's announcement he will be suing the Trump administration over the National Guard deployment. Trump has since accused both Newsom and Bass of paying protesters to cause unrest.
In Los Angeles, the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles, they're incompetent, and they paid troublemakers, agitators, and insurrectionists. They're engaged in this willful attempt to nullify federal law and aid the occupation of the city by criminal invaders.
Meanwhile, anti-ICE rallies are spreading across the U.S., many marching in support of those in L.A. and immigrant communities.
It could get worse if we don't come out and fight. If we don't come out and show that we are willing to stand up for our rights, stand up for our First Amendment rights, stand up for the rights of immigrants, the rights of people to be able to work, to be able to live, to create a life for their families here. If we don't stand up for that, it could get worse.
Back on the outskirts of Los Angeles, U.S. military troops await orders, with Hegseth saying they could be on standby for at least 60 days. But as the federal presence intensifies, anger on the streets continues to swell along with it. Patrick Chen and Izzy Wells for TaiwanPlus.
In the Philippines, the impeachment trial against the vice president now seems to be in limbo. The country's Senate voted to send back the impeachment complaint against Sara Duterte to the House of Representatives. The lower house, which impeached Duterte in February, is accusing her of several charges, including misusing public funds. If convicted, she could be removed from her post and permanently banned from seeking office, derailing potential plans to run for president in 2028. The Senate says it wants to clear up any questions on the legality of the impeachment complaint before the formal trial begins. For more on the impeachment trial, Alec McDonald spoke to Dennis Coronachon, a professor of political science at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila.
With the Philippine Senate sending this impeachment case back to the House, does that mean that the Senate is essentially rejecting this impeachment trial?
So there's a possibility that it might be dismissed. Actually, the voting yesterday would be a prelude. I consider that as a prelude. Future voting regarding the impeachment of the vice president. So, but of course, the senators would like to see to it that the constitutional infirmity that was raised by one of the senators regarding the impeachment complaint would have to be cured before they even start with the impeachment trial. It's possible that it would result in dismissal, functional dismissal of the impeachment complaint.
With Sara Duterte positioning herself to be a presidential candidate in 2028, what are the long and short-term political implications?
Yeah, I think almost everyone here is expecting that the vice president is going to run as a presidential candidate come 2028. Now, the impeachment, the outcome of this impeachment trial or process is going to have a huge impact on the vice president's political fortune. Should she be able to survive this impeachment complaint process, I think it would make her a very formidable candidate. Yesterday's voting by the senators, it shows us that the senators have so much respect for the vice president, or if not respect, fear, because of what her family has done in the midterm elections.
How has the public been reacting over the past few days to these developments?
Filipinos are quite divided when it comes to the impeachment trial and when it comes to how the government has been treating the Duterte family. I think a great majority of the Filipinos still show their support to the Duterte family and even sympathize with the former president and also the vice president. So they tend to believe the narratives that the Duterte family has been telling the public, that what they're going through is political persecution. That narrative has gained traction, and it was shown during the last midterm election. They continue to be popular even until now, despite all the issues that have been that they have gone through.
That was Dennis Coronachon from the University of Santo Tomas. Coming up after the break. Straight out of Yilan, how hip-hop is spreading Taiwanese roots along the country's northeast coast.
人生的话，你发现说，我们大部分都是爱美。
我自己少遇见一朵花，我可能就不是这个样子。
开始思考什么叫做一个本土性。
大声的唱出来说我是台湾人。
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world, charted by the freest country in Asia.
Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.
And welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Taiwan's main electricity provider, Taipower, is at odds with the Taichung city government over the country's energy policy. At stake is coal consumption at the nation's biggest power plant. Taiwan is in a power struggle over power. The country's legislature passed a resolution last week asking the country's biggest power plant to go coal-free by 2028.
台中发电厂应逐年提出并落实减煤计划，并在2028年完成无煤中火之国家减碳目标。
But Taiwan's main electricity provider, Taipower, isn't taking that request lying down. It says that such a demand has grave consequences for the country's energy supply. Taichung Power Plant in central Taiwan is one of the world's biggest coal-fired facilities. Taipower says that it already has a timeline for the plant to go coal-free by 2046, replacing coal-fired generators with ones that run on natural gas. It adds that it's on track to meet that goal early by 2034. The Taichung city government recently approved a test fire of the plant's first natural gas generator.
努力在今年的年底前让它能够上线来供电。那另外就是2号机组是规划明年会上线，预计1年就可以供应大概140亿度的稳定电力。
Local authorities say that they want to fast-track this transition from coal to gas.
其实增气减煤还是非常重要的一个政策方向的部分，所以市长也决定说要叫我们赶快进行发放的部分。
But Taipower says rushing the plant's coal exit is not realistic. It's taking the city government to task over the legislature's resolution. Taichung says the coal-fired generators create substantial air pollution and damage residents' health. Taipower says that Taichung uses the most energy out of all municipalities in Taiwan and that it must take up some share of the country's energy production. People in the middle say they've had little say in the matter.
我觉得这个已经挑起区域上的对立了，因为中央政府产业发展上一直要台中去接收这种高耗能的产业，逼得变成现在是台中市的用电量多于发电量，但是这并不是台中人的原罪啊。燃煤，我们希望在2028之前能够全部减掉。
Taiwan's energy supply is already tight. That's especially true during the hot summer months when air conditioning becomes a near necessity. Like all countries in the world, energy is a growing need. But what Taiwan's energy mix should look like and where that power should come from remains a point of contention at all levels of government. John Su and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus. Last month was the second hottest May on record, according to the Copernicus Climate Change Service. Temperatures around the world last month were 1.4 degrees Celsius above the estimated pre-industrial 1850 to 1900 level, which is used as a baseline for measuring climate change. Data also showed that northwestern Europe had an exceptionally dry spring, with many countries now facing drought conditions. After an already difficult few years, central India was hit particularly hard with extreme weather events in 2024. And is having a big impact on people there. Lauren Pattamore has the story.
Serious water shortages, rising temperatures, and more erratic rainfall have become a painful reality for Indian farmers over the last few years, and they're grappling with the unpredictability and the increasing inability to turn a profit. There's a human cost to living and working under these conditions. Suicide among agricultural workers has increased because of climate change. About 3 farmers take their lives each day, according to India's Agricultural Ministry. Tata Institute of Social Sciences Professor Rama Kumar says many farmers are reaching a breaking point.
Farmer suicides in India began much before many of these extreme weather events were striking. Right? But what climate change and its vulnerabilities and variabilities have done is to increase the risks in farming. And this increasing risks in farming is leading to crop failures, uncertainties, and so on, which is further weakening the economics of cultivation for small and marginal farmers. And that, in that sense, exacerbates the crisis.
In 2024, India faced extreme weather nearly every day of the year, with central regions like Maharashtra hit especially hard. For farmers like Marabi Kindkar in the city of Bede, these harsh conditions have turned once fertile land into barren fields. Her soybean, millet and cotton plots withered in the heat. Her husband took his life last year, leaving with her land she says grows nothing but personal debts, owing 100 times their annual income to loan sharks.
He and I got married 15 years ago. As soon as we got married, we started working in the field. Farming was not sufficient for us because there was very little to no rain. Crops were also not growing properly. Later, we started going to cut sugarcane, but even there, the yields were not enough to repay the loan. We asked for our salary in advance, but we didn't get it, and the loan installments kept piling up, and that's why my husband committed suicide.
Their story is sadly not unique. 269 farmers in her state took their lives from January to March this year, a sharp increase from 204 people the year before. Also in Bede, Shakati Jabi is grieving her son who died by suicide. Where she lives, rain is scarce. Farming means surviving, or not.
There's no water to drink, so how do we water the fields? Rain is the only thing that matters. If there's no rain, then there's no farming. We need to look for work as daily labourers instead.
But the struggles of these farmers are not reflected in nationwide data. India's farming industry grew by 3.5% in the second quarter of the 2024-2025 fiscal year. Dr. Ramakumar wants the government to do more to support small farms.
Agriculture should not be a gamble with the monsoon. Agriculture should be a more certain enterprise. Agriculture should be a more risk-free enterprise. So you need investments of the government in infrastructure, irrigation, and so on and so forth, which will make agriculture more safe and certain.
Until that happens, the economic growth experienced nationwide won't help farms like Mirabai's, where failure and financial strain are all too common in the face of climate change. Justin Wu and Lauren Pattermore for TaiwanPlus.
If you're in Taiwan and having thoughts about suicide, call Lifeline Taiwan International at 1995. Young people along Taiwan's northeast coast are embracing hip-hop culture, but making it their own in a region with its own deep traditions. Eric Gao has the story.
These breakdancers are part of a wave of hip-hop culture that's spread all across Taiwan. But these aren't your typical b-boys. They're part of a separate movement that doesn't just follow American styles. Rather, it pushes them in a strongly local direction. Leading the vanguard of the movement is Wang Jieming. His family didn't like it at all when he first got into hip-hop. But now he's made something of a name for himself. Not just as a breakdancer, but as a mentor to many young people from miles around and as a proud representative of his home, Yilan County on Taiwan's northeast coast.
我就是开始代表台湾出去比赛不哩啊侪届，嘛伫韩国、中国甲无共的国家摕到冠军过，想要用我家己的跳舞出去代表宜兰出去，互搁较侪人知影讲，咱宜兰嘛有袂歹的舞者呢。
And this hometown pride shows up again and again in Yilan's hip-hop culture scene. The Yilan Street Art Association is a graffiti collective that's also very proud of where it comes from. Though its members take their inspiration from Western street art, they've made a name for themselves spray painting motifs and scenes based on local folk culture. Wang knows these young people and helps find them spaces that want murals with these traditional designs.
王建民有当时就较侪庙有熟悉，有庙嘛有要转型啊。像4号静安宫，我就是用我的方式去甲妈祖啊、千里的顺风耳啊、龙凤加庙宇元素的物件放伫顶悬。
And Yilan pride goes right through the local rap scene too. Drawing inspiration from local temple culture and its music, rap crew Cocky Boys represents Yilan County in one of its own languages. In their hands, the once marginalized Taiwanese Taiyi becomes an elegant vehicle for songs about home, belonging, and rootedness.
像中国他们有国风、古风啊，那 hip hop 这种东西啊，讲美国，它本来就是他们自己的东西。但是台湾好像还没有真的说，有完全属于自己的嘻哈。你就思考是不是，如果跟北管结合，会不会创造出台湾自己的音乐？
This crew thinks it's found the answer. Yes. Yes, they can. It may not have a local origin, but in Yilan County, U.S. street culture has taken on a new guise, with young people from around the region adapting and reshaping foreign elements into something deeply rooted in the local landscape. Ryan Wu, John Van Trieste, and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Finally today, check out these wind-powered sculptures in the Netherlands, created by Dutch artist Theo Jansen. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.